Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Please let us all stand for the national anthem. I'll ask Jakeem Browne, a student from the UG's Faculty of Engineering and Technology and a contestant in the UGGT Got Talent competition, to lead us in the national anthem.
Dear land of Guyana, of rivers and plains, made rich by the sunshine and lush by the rain, sad gem like in fear between mountains and seas. Your children salute you, dear land of the free.
Thank you, Jakeem. You may have your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again, and welcome to the stud turning ceremony for the new Science and Technology building. My name is Jainarine Deonauth, and I'm the Director of the Department of Events, Conferences and Communication at the University of Guyana, and I'll be chairing this afternoon's event. Today, as we are gathered here for this event, 4 of the 5 servicemen who tragically lost their lives in the line of duty just over a week ago or so are being laid to rest. The other was laid to rest on Wednesday last. As a nation's university, we honor these 5 brave men: Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, Colonel Michael Shahood, retired Brigadier Gary Beaton, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome, and Staff Sergeant Jason Khan. We honor these men for their bravery, for their dedication, their loyalty to country, and their service, their excellent service. It is therefore only fitting that I ask you to stand for a moment of silence in memory of our servicemen who have passed away. Thank you very much. You may have your seats. And of course, we wish the 2 survivors, Corporal Dwayne Jackson and Lieutenant Andy Crawford, a speedy recovery. I should also mention that quite a few of those servicemen who passed away, they studied right here at the University of Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us now move right into the turning ceremony. First, please allow me to recognize a few persons in our midst. Our esteemed Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, I'm not sure if he's online, Dr. Emmanuel Cummings, ExxonMobil Guyana Country Manager, Mr. Alistair Routledge, other representatives of the GGI that are here today, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Ms. Verlyn Klass, other members of UG's senior management team, staff, students, members of the media, and all others who are here and who are joining us online. Welcome to all of you this afternoon. Today's sod turning ceremony is yet another milestone in the history of our university, as it paves the way for the construction of the new Science and Technology building. And right here behind me, you'll see what that building looks like. This building, of course, will benefit thousands of students and many more who will come in the years to come, who dream of achieving a university education to change their lives for the better. As a university, we have quite a number of path-breaking initiatives, ideas, and you would have heard VC speaking about these initiatives in the past. And we are always happy when we have collaborators to work on achieving these initiatives. For this reason, I'm very happy that the GGI representatives are here today, and this, of course, is another project that we're collaborating on. And many of you would know the partnership with the GGI goes back quite a long time ago, starting first with the Zoom rooms that were established that laid the building blocks for a learning or blended learning architecture, and of course the campus safety and security project. If you remember that project, that of course is benefiting quite a large number of students and staff at the university. As a result of this partnership, we've benefited. We've really achieved great things, and we would really like this partnership to continue. So I'm sure you'll hear more about this, about the projects that are coming online, about this particular project here from the VC and other speakers. So please allow me to invite the Dean first of the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Ms. Verlyn Klass, who will bring remarks. Please put your hands together for her. She comes.
Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols having been observed, so I had written that, so indeed he did observe all protocols for me. Let me say that I'm indeed extremely pleased to be able to make a few remarks on this turning the sod ceremony for the new Science and Technology building, which will house facilities for the faculties of Engineering and Technology and Earth and Environmental Sciences. I see my task here as an opportunity to express sincere thanks to those companies and persons who have contributed to the project reaching this stage. Firstly, I must of course say thanks to the partners of the Greater Guyana Initiative, ExxonMobil Guyana Limited, Hess Guyana Exploration Limited, and Sinop Petroleum Guyana Limited, who have given $2.25 million for the construction of this center. This is a part of the Science and Engineering Education Project, and as we've heard before, they are continuing to give invaluable support to the university, and we at the faculty are extremely grateful. Next, but not far behind, I must commend our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohamed, who has been untiring in her efforts to acquire funding for the university and the faculty. Your efforts in this area are well appreciated by all. Dr. Anna Pereira, head of the architecture department, was the first person to be in charge of the project, and she continues on the project team to bring her knowledge and skills, and with the help of the students, to develop the designs of the building, catering for its continual changing requirements. Dr. Kofi Dalrymple, HOD Civil Engineer, is now the project leader, and he brings with him the expertise of Dr. William Wilson and Colin Quinton, who I see are both here, of the Civil Engineering Department, who have developed the structural designs for the building. We are also expecting to use members of the Mechanical and Electrical departments as the project progresses. Lastly, I must not forget C&B Associates, Inc., who will be assisting with project management and other designs for the project. So how will we use the building? As you've heard, it will be shared with the Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences. The ground floor will house shared labs, inclusive of 2 energy labs and 2 wet labs. Classrooms, a conference room, and offices will also be housed in this new building. I'm thinking that this may be a good time as any to plug for funding for equipment for these labs. I'm not sure how VC is looking at me. Our faculty continues to grow as many young persons want to participate in the country's burgeoning oil and gas industry. This year, we graduated our highest number of students, 370 students at both the bachelor and associate levels. This represents a 72% increase over the last 6 years. Another interesting statistic is that 100 of these students were girls, representing a growth of nearly 250% over the same period. I think, and Professor Emmanuel Cummings will ask me please for the data, but I think that there is now a slowly changing mindset in Guyana, and engineering is beginning to compete with medicine as a viable choice for science students. It's our firm view that investments such as this one will allow the study of engineering to become more attractive while assisting us in producing better engineers and architects for our countries, skills that are greatly needed at this time. So with these few words, let me just close by saying again, thanks to all the aforementioned companies and persons, and to wish everyone a blessed Christmas. I hope you're thinking of Christmas season, and a successful 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean Klass. So you've heard it there. That's the kind of impact this sort of collaboration is having on students. I'll now like to invite Dr. Faith Kasim, Head of the Department of Geography, Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences, to make some remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, standing on the existing protocol, I don't want to repeat what you've said. You've said it all. But for us, we are very glad, thanking everybody for the opportunity for us to expand our scope. We know that this kind of collaboration will continue, and we are closing on the remark that she has said. As Oliver Twist, we're still asking for more. And I know the more is still there for us. We still have a whole lot of land available for us to utilize. So we are open to this kind of collaboration, and we are hoping that you will continue to give us this kind of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see Dr. Dalrymple just came in a few minutes ago. So I'll now like to invite him. He's the project oversight. So he'll provide an overview of this project. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you, Her Excellency, Professor Paloma Mohamed. I know, because I'm late. I'm a little under the weather, but esteemed Vice-Chancellor of the University, distinguished Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, distinguished academics, administrators, and leaders of the university, Mr. Alistair Routledge, President of ExxonMobil, other distinguished guests, everyone who comes to this great institution has a story. Mine began in 1996. The same year I graduated high school, I was a freshman civil engineering student right here on these hallowed grounds. I came to love engineering, but it was really an arranged marriage. My first preference was environmental science, but my mom, a civil engineer, who was the only girl in her class. She had 4 children and she was carrying the 5th, my little sister, while she was solving calculus and expanding Taylor series and designing buildings, advised me that engineering would provide me with a solid technical background to leapfrog into any area of study. Fast forward more than 2 decades, she was absolutely right, and I have no regrets. In the dynamic landscape of Guyana's rapidly growing economy, the significance of a vibrant engineering and science program cannot be overstated. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century, a robust foundation in engineering and science is the catalyst for innovation, progress, sustainable development. These disciplines serve as the backbone of technological advancements, offering solutions to critical issues such as infrastructure development, energy security, and environmental sustainability. By investing in education and fostering a culture of scientific inquiry Guyana not only cultivates a skilled workforce, but also propels itself onto the global stage as a hub for innovation and economic resilience. A thriving engineering and science program is the key to unlocking the full potential of our nation, ensuring that we build a future that is both prosperous and sustainable. And this is precisely why we are here today. This investment from the Greater Guyana Initiative targets 3 key areas which are components of a larger plan to equip the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, along with its interdisciplinary partners, specifically the Faculty of Earth and Environmental Science, to serve our great nation. The project provides for 3 areas. The first is retrofitting of the existing Facility of Engineering and Technology to address issues and adapt to new learning approaches. Our labs are in dire need of upgrade. In order to train the engineers of the future, we need facilities that foster learning, cutting-edge research centers, and well-equipped classrooms that create an environment to stimulate curiosity and foster hands-on learning experiences. This project will invest $270,000 to modernize our facilities, to serve as incubators for innovation, allowing aspiring engineers, as I once was, to engage in groundbreaking research and development projects. The second aspect of the project targets the expansion of the existing laboratory facilities. When I graduated UG in 2001, I worked in these very labs. Also, class sizes were small when I was here. We had 1 female like my mom in the class, Kenesha Garnett. Today, our student enrollment has almost tripled. A surprise that I came to learn of when I started teaching. I had to cut back on the number of assignments because they became too much to grade. Group assignments became the thing to do. The faculty has estimated a need for an additional 23,000 square feet in new lab space. This project will add a much needed 5,000 square feet. We have decided to add new expanded labs to petroleum and geology, areas of priority for our faculty and our country. These new spaces will see an investment of $450,000. We expect that future contributions will allow us to expand other labs as we try to achieve our goal. The third part of the project is the establishment of the new Science and Technology building. The building you see behind me that has been so gloriously printed and erected for our viewing today represents an interdisciplinary collaboration between our faculty, the Engineering and Technology faculty, and FEES, the Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences. The rooms, which I will have on the screen later during the ceremony, have been designed to be shared spaces to facilitate areas of synergy, particularly water and energy research and sustainability, and information technology. We will see approximately 15,000 new square feet of space, including labs, classrooms, and very important when you're designing these buildings, offices. Have you ever sat in a design meeting where everybody wants an office? So we'll get some offices in there. I'm also excited, before I actually continue, so the building, which will be erected right behind us, We'll also have solar panels because sustainability is our goal. I think if you look in the drawing, our goal is to have those erected in the parking area to provide shade from the sweltering heat of the tropical climate of our beautiful country, but also to harness that energy for use within the same building. You know, I've come to appreciate that every building that we put on this faculty should in itself be self-sustaining, both in terms of energy and finance. Vice Chancellor, we shouldn't add to the utilities when we put up a new building without being able to bring in new and important financing to support the new buildings that we put up. And we hope to demonstrate that with this building in particular. We also intend that the work that goes on in this building would not only support the university and the students, but also the greater expansion that's going on within our very country to be able to provide services to much of what's happening in Guyana, so that the building and the work within the building in itself is self-sustaining and self-financing. I'm also excited that the design team comprises architects and engineers from our very faculty. This has been and will continue to be a learning experience for our faculty, which hopes to execute these projects and develop the capacity and the capability to execute on these types of projects going forward as we learn to grapple with that. And so we've had included in our project, as our esteemed dean mentioned, Dr. Anna Pereira, who isn't here today, Dr. William Wilson, who is a world-class structural engineer and my former lecturer here at the university, Mr. Colin Quinton, an aspiring structural engineer as well. And I'm also excited to acknowledge the design work and assistance from the talented team at CB and Associates. You guys know this song? I play drums, right? There's a song, Me Na Dead Yet, Fly Abada Me. Bamba, anybody knows that? Me na dead yet, fly abada. Yeah, all right. That's a whole other side of my life, sorry. But it gives me great pleasure today to be at the ceremony and to look forward to the erection of this building and to all of the students that it will serve, because like my mom, I do believe that engineering provides a solid foundation for students to go out and solve problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dalrymple. I didn't know you were an entertainer too. Thank you very much for that detailed overview of the project. It shows clearly that quite a lot of thought went into designing this project. And we're grateful for people like Susan here and Matt, of course, both from ExxonMobil Guyana, for doing the hard work. Sometimes behind the scenes people don't know, but thank you very much on behalf of the university. I'd also like to recognize the presence of our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Emmanuel Cummings, who's just joined us. Welcome, Professor. So now I'd like to invite the CEO of ExxonMobil Guyana, Mr. Alistair Routledge, to make remarks. Please put your hands together for him as he comes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, Vice Chancellor Paloma, Deputy Vice Chancellor, faculty, administration of the university, students, friends, colleagues, what a wonderful occasion this is. It's been a little while in coming because we've been talking about this for some time, but I'm delighted to be here for this sod-turning event and this pivotal moment. It would be remiss of me not to acknowledge Beni is here to represent CNOOC, that I really stand here on behalf of ExxonMobil Guyana, CNOOC, and HES as the Starbrook Block co-venturers. Now you'll say, what brought us here to Guyana was to explore for and develop the natural resources in the form of oil and gas in the country. And thankfully for all of us, we've been tremendously successful in that journey. And because of that, we are in this great position where we have also been able to set aside a tremendous fund, the Greater Guyana Initiative, to support these kind of projects, which ultimately are going towards not developing the oil and gas, but the most important and valuable resource in the country, which is the people. And so that is what GGI is all about. It's saying oil and gas is a finite resource. The future of the country depends upon the development of the people. And we needed and wanted to invest in the people. And so this is a physical manifestation of that. It is also very indicative, as Dr. Dalrymple very eloquently said, of the importance of STEM education. You know, his mother made that case for him. I'm delighted to have made that case for my two children, who are now 23 and 21. One just graduated as a mechanical engineer this year. My daughter is studying to be an environmental engineer in her final year. I'm a mechanical engineer. The world needs more engineers and scientists. It's part of how we will manage climate change. How will we adapt? How will we deliver better solutions for our societies in the future? And so this is a pivotal project in building out the capability in the university and supporting that fantastic growth of the student membership and especially the women. Great to hear that registration and the number of female students. I'm delighted to say in ExxonMobil Guyana here, we actually have 50% women on our workforce. 50%. It is the future. I mean, we need to bring everybody into the workforce who is capable and willing to contribute to the development of the country. Guyana has a wonderful opportunity to transform itself and its future to be a truly sustainable example of development for the future. Oil and gas is the catalyst. The GGI fund is another part of catalyzing that change, but it's the people of Guyana and the education that University of Guyana gives that will actually make it happen. So we're excited to be here. We're excited through the GGI activities to partner with other institutions such as the TVETs, projects that we're doing with the government like the Technical Training Centre in Port Morant. All of these investing in Guyanese here in the country to build up that education capacity, to raise the level, the standard of education, provide better facilities, so that ultimately that capability and that capacity rises in the country. And Paloma, I believe your goal is by, was it 2040, every family would have a student that passed through University of Guyana? Yep. That's always stuck in my mind. That's not that far away. It's only 17 years away. So we have some work to do. And facilities like this will not only increase capacity, but to me will also increase the attractiveness of coming to the campus here. I think the projects that we've already done with the university have helped to improve the safety, improve other parts of the facilities. But some of these projects also just expand capacity and make it more attractive for people to come and study here and develop themselves and ultimately be able to contribute to the transformation of Guyana. So Paloma and all of the staff and faculty of the university, thank you for your partnership. We really value it as a strategic partnership, a pillar of what we're doing with the Greater Guyana Initiative. Of course, we benefit from many of your graduates in our workforce and our industry, but we really want this to be much larger than that. It's the growth of the human capital in the country to contribute much wider to the sustainable economy of the future. So thank you for your partnership. Thank you to CNOOC and HES and ExxonMobil for the funds. We look forward to the growth of this new facility out of the ground and to cutting the ribbon on it in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Routledge, for your remarks. And of course, we do look forward to working with you on all of these path-breaking initiatives. Thank you very much. So now we'll move to remarks from the Vice-Chancellor. Please put your hands together for Professor Paloma Mohamed Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize if I look a little bedraggled. I got off a plane at 4 a.m. this morning from Phoenix, Arizona, where 31 University of Guyana faculty graduated with PhDs, thanks to the ExxonMobil Foundation. And from there, I went straight to a funeral in the Promenade Gardens, where one of ours, Sean Welcome, was laid to rest. He was one of my first students when I came back to Guyana 15 years ago. And when I was teaching under a tree, because the Center for Communication Studies was so decrepit that no one could teach in it. So, to have to bury him, I feel like a parent today. But he was one of the brave, one of the many reservists and staff of the university who serve as reservists. And where one has fallen, we will raise up 1,000. Today also is a happy day. So you'll see some happy tears too. Because this Faculty of Engineering and Technology for many decades has been the stepchild of this university. It has been under-resourced, both in terms of human resources and in terms of physical resources. Why? Because in the 60 years of the university's history, it was never, I guess, perceived, hoped, maybe it was hoped, but definitely never perceived, that a day would come in our country when we would need 4 times as many engineers as this faculty could produce. So everything in the faculty was very small, very tiny. 20 students here, 15 students there. But with the advent of ExxonMobil's fantastic success in Guyana over the last 6 or 7 years, and we forget that it's only about 6 or 7 years, they've done a tremendous, groundbreaking, remarkable, historic job in going from first oil to production so many times over and over again. And the university has been a beneficiary of that in many ways. I'll talk about that in a second, but let's talk about this thing. I saw, as Deputy Vice Chancellor, around 2017, 2018, just around, Dean, maybe about 100 or so applicants to these programs. And they would graduate maybe 30, 40 people from the programs. So they have 5 engineering degrees in the faculty. And then all of a sudden, within 2 or 3 years, we were seeing 400 and 500 applicants, of which maybe 300 were good applicants that they could take and train. But everything was small. The labs were small. There's no space right now. What? Okay. They're telling me I'm shaking the podium. Okay, I won't. Thank you. So we needed more people, but everything was small. And so the students have no recreational space. There's no place for students in this faculty to meet, to talk to each other. They did a wonderful job with what they could. They designed the exterior, which is very beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places on campus as a class project. But when it rains, guess what? You can't go out there. There's no place for them to sit and eat. And we understand how important this need for students to be able to collaborate with each other, to kind of germinate, to find their husbands and wives. Somebody told me that the other day. When are you going to open up UG again? My daughter needs to find a husband. And I thought, this is very interesting. And they meant open up to. So apparently that is one of the benefits of coming here. Wonderful. So all of that. And so this is a very, very significant moment. I was saying this afternoon, and as I was walking here, that this part of the university, which is basically unknown to most people, was actually, in the gift to the university, meant to be the front of the university. And so this building, which we had hoped would be 3 stories, but given a war, COVID, and everything that has happened with materials, it has had to be redesigned 3 times. So they have a foundation on it for 3 stories, but given the budget that we have at the moment, they've gone to 2 stories. And in giving that advice, I'd like to thank Susan and Sandra, Susan Scott mostly from the GGI, who manages the GGI, for basically helping us to come out of the conundrum, which is what to do, because we kept redesigning as we're responding to these material differences in cost. Also, want to say that it's therefore going to open up the vista of the university to this. It's going to be the big, not imposing, hopefully eventually imposing, but it's certainly going to be the first big building. It's going to be oriented towards what should really be the front of the university. And because we cannot have the heavy trucks and things like that coming through the front of the university, given the space we have, we're going to be creating a road here that's going to not only give access to the building site, but also open up the back of the front of the campus now to other vehicular and other traffic. And that is a very significant thing, because at this moment, really, if there's an emergency on campus for big vehicles, smaller vehicles can get through the back here, but big vehicles, there's only one exit, and that's the front. So I want to say thank you to what I would consider our Exxon family now, because Exxon has stood with this university, GGI, ExxonMobil Foundation, through thick and thin, and a lot of thick, I think, in between, from the very moment that we became involved with each other many years ago, about 5 years ago. Many people don't know that our physics lab, which had been burnt down, was regifted by Exxon 5 years ago. The security that you see on campus was part of this GGI project, so we thank Hess and CNOC. Thank you for being here, Ambassador Karan. But also, those 31 and 7 more to come next year, PhDs that just graduated, they were educated in some Zoom rooms because we could not afford to send 40 people away at once. So they were here teaching and taking some of their education in Zoom rooms that were gifted by this project. And when in the middle of COVID, we were trying to figure out how to address the problem of being online and teaching, we converted many of those rooms. We were given money for 4, and we were able to find a way to do 14, so that not only campus here in Turkine, but Berbice and IDC campuses across the country could have those rooms where people could go and teach. That's the kind of impact that this relationship has had. And I'm not sitting here saying this because they're here. I'm saying this because you know, and you can go and check the proof. But later on this afternoon, while this is not the day for it, we will be seeing 2 or 3 other projects that the ribbons will be cut later on next year. This is the kind of last event for this year and the biggest one. But 4 very important other projects that have been funded under the GGI bucket that we were given about 4 years ago. The first one will be a series of dental chairs that we will see that we're gifted under a health community aspect of this. And you'll want to know, well, why is she going on about 6 dental chairs? I'll tell you why. Because again, every single year the university would graduate 6 or 8 dentists when the country needs about 600. And everybody would come to us and say, well, why is it so, why are the numbers so low? And it's because of the hygiene and the sanitation requirements of the discipline. You had to have 1 dentist per chair. And so we only had 6 chairs and we doubled up, right? So sometimes you'll get 9 dentists graduating. So an additional 6 chairs will give us an additional 6 to 8 dentists a year. And most importantly, those chairs are going to go into communities where dental services were not usually delivered. So our students will get practice in some of those areas, and people in those areas will be able to get good dental hygiene at no cost or a low cost. So that's one. The second one is the mechanical engineering lab, which when Mr. Bruce Haynes, who runs the lab, came to me and said, "VC, can I get some equipment for this lab?" I said, "Yes, but what do you want?" He said, "Well, I'll bring the lists and you'll see what we want." And then he brought this list to me that was given by the British Council in 1979. So I said, this is what you have in the lab from since 1979? And he said, "Yes, we see." So I said, all of this stuff is obsolete, but they were still using it. So we got a grant, not in this one, but a couple of years ago, that we were just able to fulfill, to put some new equipment in the mechanical lab in this faculty. So some of those equipment that they're asking about has already been gifted on another project. We'll see that today. And then we have 2 very significant other labs under a GGI project. A genetics lab. Many people do not know that on this campus, we house the arc of the country. What do I mean by this? We have our biodiversity center that collects and maintains and samples all of the biodiversity of our country. But they have been collecting these in, kind of jars and tucks, these things. But now this lab is going to help them to genetically sequence all of the species. And technically what this means is that should something catastrophic happen, we have potentially the ability to regenerate, or certainly to save and to understand the species, all the species in the country. So that's very, very significant. We're going to launch that in January, right? And then in our College of Medical Sciences, for 30 years, our doctors did not have something called a skills lab, which is really a plastic mechanical model of a body, so that you don't practice on human cadavers. And we couldn't get it for 30 years. And this project also has given the university its first one. And finally, for the College of Medicine, a molecular lab. When COVID hit the country in 2020, all our samples had to be done outside of the country, right? We had the people who knew how to sequence, but we didn't have the equipment. We couldn't do it ourselves. And I think that was the difference between life and death for many people in the very beginning, because we just didn't know what was going on. And as we know, the predictions for the future are that there will be many other things, infectious diseases, zoonotic and other diseases, that we will need to be able to understand and work on as the nation's university. And so that molecular lab in the College of Medical Sciences is going to be the second one. The government now has one, and ours will be the second and only other in the country that I know of. Maybe there are others. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say to you that this relationship has brought value, tremendous, varied, deep, strong powerful value to this university. And because this university serves this nation, and not only this nation, because now we're about 4% of our students are international students from the Caribbean, so it technically is serving the Caribbean as well. This relationship has been important, very important. And in closing, I'd just like to single out and thank Matt Sharf, who's sitting in the front there in the red shirt, and somebody who's not here, but who's in Houston, Kimberly Brasington. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Because some of the things that we're doing on this campus, I haven't started to talk about Razor and so on. A lot of people would say, but why would you want to do those things, you know? Some of those things are kind of, you know, like out of the box, kind of, you know, why don't you choose easier things for the university to do? And they never say no. They say, well, let's get the justification. Let's figure it out. Let's get the numbers right. But if you guys are willing to work at this and to deliver it, and we can support it, we will do that. And I really want to thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. So, to begin where I started, is Christine anywhere nearby? Or any of my staff? Can I have the... So, those members of the media who are with us today, you're lucky. Thank you for coming. And thank you for carrying the story. Today, I'd like to make a small presentation to the members of the GGI team who are here and Exxon. These are tiny little gifts. They're not big. We don't have a lot of money, but they're thoughtful. And members of the media who are here, you were lucky because you're going to get this. These came in the country today, this morning. They're fridge magnets. And they say Essequibo in Guyana since 1899. Might I invite you to receive?
Thank you. Wonderful. We've given that some thought. We'll put it up with pride.
Yes.
In fact, we'll find somewhere in the front of the building to put one.
Can I ask Wayne to collect one? Come and, Kofi, come and hand over. Help me hand over.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Matt, did you receive? Prof. Susan. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And for those members of the media who are here, you get the first copy after when you're leaving. Please make sure you collect it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, for capturing the fruits of this collaboration with GGI so well in your presentation. And now we'll hear from Ms. Reyhanah Abdul-Kadir. She will speak representing the alumni community. Ms. Kadir completed a BSc in Environmental Science in 2022 and is a recipient of the Environmental Management Consultants Best Student Award. Please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Kadir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. My name is Reyhanah Abdul-Kadir, and I'm a recent graduate from the University of Guyana, Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences. I graduated in 2022, so that's just 12 months ago, roughly. And I started university in 2018, and my first 2 years were in person, so I got to see my lecturers and my peers. However, we were forced to move online due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and most of my colleagues and I sometimes would be complaining, we want to go back on campus, we want to finally put a face to some of our lecturers and interact with each other, but we couldn't because, COVID. And I know you're probably thinking, COVID is a thing of the past, we're in 2023. However, I know the university is still transitioning to its post-pandemic era. And so I think the construction of this building is coming at a really pivotal time for the university. It's coming at a time where persons want to get back out. And, I know that this would only propel the university into its post-pandemic era. I know that when students come back, they'll be able to see a newly erected building that is spacious, that they can do labs in, have classes in, interact with each other in. So I know that this building will be really influential. I'm also currently a GIS and remote sensing analyst at the Guyana Forestry Commission. And so I have an appreciation for, both science and technology and how these disciplinaries interact, how they overlap. And so I know that this building will serve to do just that. It will serve to be a space for multiple disciplinaries, not only science, but also technology. It will serve to be a space for the students to, exchange information and knowledge, build on the existing knowledge that they have. So in closing, I would just like to say a huge thank you to the Greater Guyana Initiative and their partners for this donation to the university, and a huge congratulations to the governing bodies of the University of Guyana for continuing to push for, improvements in the standard and quality of education and of facilities offered to the students of the campus. As a recent graduate, I can speak for all the students when I say that we would really, or will really appreciate the construction of the building. And I know that it will be used in an efficient and effective way. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Reyhanah, for those remarks. Just one bit of clarification. 5 of our faculties are back out full-time. And of course, as time goes by, we'll bring the others out. So please know that that is being seriously considered by the university administration. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, students are the center of what we do. When we plan our projects, that is what we think about very, very carefully. So it is therefore my pleasure to invite Ms. Kezia Chinilan, I hope I pronounced that correctly, President of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, student chapter, and also a petroleum engineering student. She will speak about the kind of impact that this project will have on students. Please welcome her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Dean Klass, and representative from the Greater Guyana Initiative. So before I had written down a few points, but when I came, I heard so much more of what to expect. And I must say that the students here, are extremely excited for this. So it is with profound gratitude I'd like to express my thanks to the Greater Guyana Initiatives for your continuous contribution and support throughout the way. This is indeed a highlight for the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, as this initiatives would serve a positive impact to the students. As what I'm referring to is that we have now getting new facilities, laboratories, classrooms, study center, and this is some things that the students have been hoping for, and we are finally getting it. So it is something that we are really, really grateful for, as this would serve as a conducive space for us to explore, innovate, and discover more things together as future engineers. And to our future students, future engineers that will soon commence the Faculty of Engineering and Technology, it's a glimpse into the environment of what to expect, where dreams are limitless, and you have now these facilities available to everyone. So we are super excited and immensely grateful for this contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Kezia. So we are on time. We're doing well with the time so far. In a while, you will be heading out there where the turning will be done. And you were told also an invitation to wear comfortable shoes, so I hope you did. Okay, so we're very happy to have with us our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Engagement, Professor Emmanuel Cummings, who will deliver the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Professor, please put your hands together for him as he comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai, and Vice Chancellor, Executive from ExxonMobil. Dean, I will also want to recognize the former Dean, Dr. Wilson, who I know who's given maybe more than 30 years of service to this university. I might have been responsible for the training of persons like Dr. Dalrymple and many other engineers. You know, what a day. You know, I started the day very sad, but it seems as though I'm going to end it being happy. I started by going to a funeral, as you see the way I'm dressed. And one of the funerals that I went to this morning was the late Brigadier Gary Beaton, who was also an engineer. A lot was spoken about his, apart from his service as in the military, but a lot was said about his engineering capabilities. He was also an engineer that was involved in many structural projects across the country at the time of his death. And so that's why I said it started very sad. I'm certain the late Brigadier Beaton that was laid to rest this morning will be smiling, knowing that at the same time when he's going, something else is happening for the University of Guyana in having this great science and technology building, and thanks to the Greater Guyana initiative for making this happen. About 10 years ago, I was doing career guidance in a secondary school, and they were the 3 top secondary schools, students from Queen's College, Bishops, and Saints. There are about 100 of them in the room. And I said to those students, I said, it was after myself and there was somebody there from FAO that was also, there was a person from FAO, I was there, and there was someone else, I think. I can't remember. But at the end of the discussion, the question was asked, let me see the hands of those who wanted to do medicine. And every student put their hands up. But then I said to them, Guyana is changing. Guyana is changing. I said, wouldn't any one of you want to be a geological engineer? Because this was long before Exxon would have started its exploration. Because already during that period, there was talk about our potential in mining. And so I said to those students, even though most of you, maybe you need to consider what you may want to become, because it's not just about medicine, but engineering. And I think what the turning for this building today clearly demonstrates what Guyana needs, and the changing in the landscape in terms of where our students are choosing. And Vice Chancellor, that conversation might have been responsible for what you see the increase. I say may or might, we don't know. We need to. It might have been responsible for the increase in enrollment in engineering, and certainly we quite recently graduated the first batch of petroleum engineers. And that is just the beginning. Now, let me talk about the building of itself now, which I think will significantly change our physical landscape that university really, really needs at this point in time. I know for a fact that the Faculty of Engineering and Technology have started discussion about having, university has gone through institutional registration, it's now going through institutional accreditation. But outside of that, programs to be recognized, if you want to have the quality of program where not only having students from Guyana, but students from abroad coming to study in the country. What happens is that if you're able to achieve program accreditation which to my mind is far more difficult than institutional accreditation. And I know for a fact that the Faculty of Technology is pursuing program accreditation. And when you look at the standards, and that one that speaks about educational resources, and Dr. Dalrymple, Dean, Dr. Wilson, certainly this building will certainly put the faculty in a very strong position in having those educational resources that are required for achieving program accreditation, in terms of having, a lot has been said in terms of what is the state of the current laboratory facilities. And significant from what I've heard, it was certainly there will be significant enhancement of the laboratory facilities. This is a practical program. You're training an engineer, either mechanical, civil, geological, or whatever. And it so requires for you to have the appropriate laboratory facilities. And so ExxonMobil, I think this is really, at the university, we're very grateful, because this will certainly put the faculty in a very strong position of making that those requirements for having program accreditation. And that by itself will certainly internationalize the program in terms of, Guyana, there's a lot of attention now being paid to Guyana in all aspects. And so persons are also coming to live in Guyana. And when they come to live in Guyana, they want the students to attend university. And certainly University of Guyana will continue to be their choice, as not in other areas, but specifically in the case of engineering, because of the significant improvement to which this project will bring in terms of its educational resources, and in the long run will improve the quality of engineers to which Guyana now needs. So I think the late Gary Beaton, smiling, an engineer, a serviceman. University of Guyana is truly appreciative of I think Vice-Chancellor mentioned, is my capacity Deputy Vice-Chancellor. We are very appreciative of the initiative that will significantly improve the quality and the training of our engineers. And so I wish to compliment the faculty, compliment all of those who would have played a significant role in bringing the project to this. Sometimes there's a lot of negotiations and discussions and everything that would have taken place to bring it to this point of having the start turning within another couple of months, depending on the time that is taken for the building to come, but certainly will change the landscape, the physical landscape of the university, that will not only be a benefit to technology, but the university as a whole, and ultimately Guyana. So thank you very much for this, and we do appreciate it. We look forward to the completion of the project, and so that our students, and one last thing I wish to say, I'm very happy to hear about university education has changed, and I'm happy to see the initiative of the environmental sciences and technology, and that's where. And I'm hoping in the future to see further integration, not just technology and environmental science, but technology and natural sciences. Those programs that we used to have before. We need to look at the interdisciplinary approach, where every profession is related to the other. And I think initiatives like these will be able to foster that sort of integration, interdisciplinary and collaboration among the various faculties. So there's so much that we can certainly benefit from this initiative. And so I want to thank you. I also want to thank all of those who would have showed up here today. Karan, other the media, and other persons who would have also played a significant role in putting this program together, and as I said earlier, would have brought the program to this point. Thank you all for what you're doing for UG. Thank you for what you're doing for the country, and may God continue to bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Cummings, for your remarks. And thank you to PACE and the others who are responsible for putting together this program today. So we've come to a very important aspect of the program, and that's the sod turning out there, which will pave the way for the beginning of construction for this state-of-the-art, wonderful, futuristic building that you'll see going up very shortly. So I'd like to invite our development partners, GGI, CNOC, HES, ExxonMobil, Guyana Limited, and of course our university administrators, led by the Vice-Chancellor, to head towards the sign out there, the diagram out there on that big board, and we'll have the sod turning. After that, you'll come back here, and we have some light refreshments for you. So please do not leave. Also, members of the media, please don't leave without collecting your gift. Thank you all very much.
Here we are.
Could I ask the students also to come towards the sod turning?
All right.
Nice, thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to officially cut the ribbon to...
Right in front of the camera.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
No, that's a different ceremony. I understand.
How are you?